Hey friends, I'm Sarah with Grace My Space. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about remodeling this fireplace. It's going to be kind of tricky, it's going to be a really big remodel, and so I'm bringing in the pros. Putting together the design for this fireplace was really tricky. It is a double-sided fireplace. There's already an existing firebox that I had to work around, and there is no framing. And so we're gonna have to add all of it. We're gonna add stone, and we're gonna walk through the design process, how I went about the decision making, some of the different options and choices for stone, for mortar, for how your grout lines end up looking, the different ways that your choices will dictate what the end result looks like. And we're gonna make this look completely different. Now, as you can see, it's a little bit of an odd layout, which is why I've waited so long to design the fireplace, because it's on an existing wall. It's a double-sided fireplace, so we have to work around this doorway, and then it actually wraps all the way around. And so this side of the fireplace is going to look different than the other side of the fireplace, which it already does right now, and is not going to be an issue because they are two separate rooms. But I had some obstacles to work around. We have an existing firebox that is going to be recessed in once we add the framing, so we had to make sure that that would work properly. We want to add a hearth, have a bench seating kind of area, and then we also want to keep this existing mantle. I bought it for $10. $10! We cut it down, we hung it ourselves, and now we're going to keep it, bring it out to accommodate the stone framing, and then we are also going to center it on the wall because it's not centered. And as you can see with our lovely drawing, we are already starting to design how the chimney portion will curve. It's going to be beautiful. Sometimes the best way to design is just to draw it right on the wall. Get the curves right so that we're not reframing. We want to make sure that it looks properly spaced, well designed, and it's going to be a beautiful focal point at the end. Now let's get right down to the project. We started by demoing the existing hearth, removing the mantle, and making sure that those curves were exactly right. Then my contractor got to work on framing everything out. We're bringing out a brand new hearth bench that was never there before. We had to change up his framing so that we could accommodate those curves. We added the mantle back on just to make sure that the bracket was properly in place before we add the stone. And we made sure that everything was in place, ready to go for the mason to start the stonework. Now for this curve, he cut out the framing, and then for the application of the stone, he's gonna have a piece of wiggle board that can allow for that curve without the wood breaking, and then the stone will be able to be applied on top. A few days later, the mason came over, he started putting the wire up that holds the mortar in place, and he started to add the base layer of mortar, which the stones will then adhere to. Once all of the framing had the mortar applied, it needed to dry overnight. And when I saw it like this, I thought it actually looked pretty cool because it kind of mimicked the look of a concrete fireplace. While that's too modern for my style, I do think it would look really neat in certain homes. When the stone started to go up, that's when everything was really starting to come to life and became extremely exciting. This is one day's progress of laying the stone, and you can tell on the left he's grouted, on the right he has not, and what a difference that grout makes on those joints. And really glad that I did this before our new floors. Let's take a look at the stone that we chose. We chose to go with a veneer. So it is concrete, and then the front has all this different variation on it. Each piece is different and custom to look like real stone. We went with 3 different color variations of the same stone so that it all has a similar texture to it and shape, but adds some interest with the color that goes up onto the fireplace. Now this is one way to grout, where we have some pieces that have a bit of a lip still on them, some of the grouts all the way up to the flushed edge. I want more of a smeared look, so we're gonna add even more to the grooves, and we're gonna bring it over onto the face of some of the stones for a bit more imperfection. It's a little bit messier, but it has more of that old world look to it. And so there are lots of different ways that you can add grout that will completely change the look of your fireplace. Here's a great example where we have the grout brought up onto the face of the stone, and then he just kind of smeared it with his finger, which gives a really authentically old looking look, as opposed to this more brushed finish where there's a lot of the edge exposed and it looks more polished. So this one's a little bit more clean. This one is a little bit more rustic. So changing the method of grouting will make a big difference in the outcome. He just finished grouting the right side. You can see what a color difference the dark wet grout is compared to the left side, which has dried for a day and is still not fully dry. So this is the progress so far. And we'll be adding the bottom hearthstone after the new flooring is installed. So now the question becomes, do I leave the mantle raw or do I stain it? This right here is exactly why we decided to do the fireplace now, because with adding the new flooring, it changed the way that the hearth was laid out, and we didn't want to do the fireplace later after adding new flooring in a configuration that wasn't going to be the final look, and then having to rip up new flooring to do a new hearth down the road. Just made sense to do them all together. This is me doing my best to block it. Are you ready to see it? So it's hard to show you the full scale of this, but it is really massive. Really a statement maker in the home now, and it makes this room feel like it has an intentional focal point, whereas before everything was just really like geared towards the window and there was no statement maker design element that I really felt like centered the room and pulled it all together. And now the fireplace is that thing. But you want to know what the best part is? This. Actually having a hearth to sit on and enjoy the fire and enjoy the heat on my back, grab a good book. This is the best part. It's not even about the look sometimes. So I'm filming this shortly after they have finished adding the mortar, and the mortar continues to lighten as it dries. So the whole overall look will get lighter with time. I will link the stone veneers that we used for you in the description, but essentially what we've done is we have combined 3 different colors to give it the dimension and the variety in the stone. This is totally a design preference. You can do the same stone in the entire fireplace. You can do just 2 different varieties. I've done 3, but the key is having a foundational color as your highest percentage. So we did 70% one color, 20% another color, and 10% that last color, so that it didn't look too much like spotty. Most people will end up doing 70% one color, 30% another color, but you can add in a little bit more variation if that's the look that you're going for. Now, I would love to know in the comments, let me know, what's your preference for a fireplace? Do you love stone? Do you love brick? Do you love concrete, plaster? There's all kinds of varieties of fireplaces. There's all kinds of different styles that they'll fit into, and I just love to know what your style is, so drop that in the comments. For me, this was all about recreating the look of an old world European charm fireplace that has lots of character. The curves in the chase are my favorite part because it's dimensional and it's a little bit unique. Usually you just see straight edges. And so it feels really custom to me and to my style and to our home. Now I really just want it to be Christmas so I can get the mantle decorated, we can put the stockings up. It's gonna be good. You want to see something? Wait for it. Current state of the rest of our home. We have no island. There is an update coming soon on the kitchen and what we're doing in here. While the rest of our home is coming to completion with the new floors, with the fireplace update, the kitchen in a little bit of flux. Stay tuned. I'll let you know what we're doing in that space. Thanks so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed seeing the fireplace come together, start to finish, from nothing to something. And now it is a wonderful element of our home that we are going to love for years to come. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notification. Stay tuned for more to come from Grace in My Space.